Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be telling you about how I read a lot of books. In the year 2015, when I started Where Stephanie Reads, the blog, I actually read 103 books. And this was part of a reading challenge for Goodreads. And my goal was to read 100, but I read 103. And I read a lot of books, and I found a lot of tips that helped me along the way. And so I'm going to tell you about some of my awesome tips that might help you. And if you have other tips that might be useful also, do leave them in the comments below because I think they will actually be very appreciative and very helpful for everybody else. So getting started, my first tip is to have a strict bedtime. And before, I was very lax and read as I watch TV, I go to bed at night, late at 1, and don't have a lot of big, huge, good sleeping habits. I mean, I'd be very sleepy in the morning, don't get as much done. But now I actually do have a strict bedtime. And because, if you do sleep late, you won't have that extra energy during that nighttime to actually fit in more reading because you'd be falling asleep or somewhat. So I go to bed at 10 o'clock because one, I get one extra hour to watch whatever show I want, and then when I go to bed at 10, I have that extra few hours that I can reach for reading. And also, it's very quiet at night, and I know I'm not going to get disturbed. And I don't have to worry about responsibilities or anything because everybody's asleep. Hopefully. So, hopefully, everybody's asleep, and also, sleeping on my bed is actually very comfortable. So, it's way more comfortable. I get the good lighting. You can even have candles if you want. Hopefully, you don't burn your books while you're near the candles and all, but it's always helpful. My second tip is to carry a book everywhere you go. And if you have a purse or a book bag or whatever you can use to carry around, having a book or an e-book or even on your phone, you can carry everywhere you go. And if you ever find some time on your hands that you can squeeze in some reading, like on the metro, waiting in line at Chipotle because those lines are very huge. Even the line at the airport because nowadays it's especially even more longer. That is a good time to read. My next tip is to have a page reading goal. Each week, whenever I pick a book, I usually have a goal to read at least 50 pages in a day. That is my goal, minimum. I can read more than that, but that is my tip. And reading 50 pages or at least a certain good amount of chunk actually helps you a lot because you get more done and at least you feel like you did progress in some way in the book. My fourth tip is audiobooks. This is kind of like something new for me as well. I've never been really into audiobooks in the past, and I always thought it would just put me to sleep or I wouldn't pay attention. And I tend to I tend to dream a lot, and I do stare off into space. I get distracted a lot, and I didn't think it would work. But when I started reading, listening to memoirs on an audiobook actually helped me a lot. And my first book that I read, actually listened, was actually Bossy Pants by Tina Fey. And I thought it was really funny, very engaging, and I actually do listen to a lot of podcasts also, so it made me feel like it. And I don't really listen to fiction books or anything like something like fantasy because I like to focus on that, and directly reading makes me feel focused. But if I'm reading something that is very passive and I don't need to pay a whole lot of attention, that makes me feel like a podcast type of feel, I would listen to that on audiobooks. And you can listen to it in the car, everywhere you go, doing chores, and it's always useful. My next tip is Readathons. Readathons was super helpful during that time because without those readathons, I wouldn't have that extra time to actually read. And usually you could read a whole week if you want to, but I think a readathon, you feel much more I have a goal. I'm going to read 7 books. This is the event. Everybody's doing it. And you also feel very competitive. You want to achieve that goal in that week. And it's very focused because you're doing something. You're doing a event or something, and if you have an event or something that you're doing that you agreed to do, and especially if you're a blogger and you blogged about it, you have to do it. So it actually helps you, especially if it's 24 hours, you can fit as many small books in that time. My last tip is to schedule it. Schedule a day that you can actually read a day. And you can even tell people that not to bother you or whatnot, but if you can schedule it, and you can even also multitask as well during that time, and instead of going shopping or something, you can read during that day. And you can also read while you're doing chores. And I do laundry and read at the same time, and I schedule it that day. I'm strict about that day, and that's what I do. So that is what I do. Be it. So that's pretty much all my tips that helps me read 103 books. Let me know in the comments below what you did that helps you read a lot. So if you like this video, click on the thumbs up. And if you want to keep up with this channel and check out more book reviews, bookish tips, and everything else, do subscribe because I love to have you around. And until next time, keep on reading.